This meeting started. I'd like to call the Scott County Board of Adjustment meeting for August 7th, 2025 to order. First order of business is approval of our July 2nd, 2025 minutes. If anyone's read that, I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion to accept.
Motion's been made to approve, second by Janet Holland. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, second order. Charlie, would you like to swear in our speakers?
Has everyone signed in to speak tonight? If you can stand and raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the statement you're to make to be the truth to the best of your information and belief? Thank you.
Okay.
Is he done? Does he believe? He's still signing.
All right, we have no old applications. We're going to move straight to our new applications. In accordance to how many people seem to be here, we're going to go ahead and do application B, which is S 2025-21. Carrie Hamlin, we'll do that one first. Staff, if you present once you get the microphone.
Is Dickie still got to sign in? Dickie still needs to sign in.
I guess we could have moved it off the podium like we have in the past. I guess we could have moved it off the podium.
The gentleman in red, did you put your hand up?
I did, sir.
The oath Ms. Gale?
Yes, I am.
Excellent, thank you.
Technical. Right.
All right, chicks and chickies. Let's see, you're not a chick. You're a little rooster, aren't you?
Back when teenage days, I was accused of being.
Straw melon. I'm really salty about the pawpaw one because like we have a tour on the 11th. It wasn't supposed to be released to the 12th, and like it's popping up all over. No, that's why I'm salty. I know. It was on the mom group.
For the general public's knowledge, too. Deliver these to Mr. Perkins. Okay, good evening. Thank you. A little call and response, why not? So we're going to reorder the agenda this evening at the pleasure of the board. We're going to skip on ahead to S 2025-21, 1479 Leesburg Pike. This is a variance application to reduce the side yard setback from 50 feet to 30 feet for the construction of a pole barn. This is way out Paris Pike to Leesburg, all the way to the Bourbon County line. A1 zone, 5 acres. Overall, staff is recommending approval. And so here's the property in question, outlined in red. The red rectangle you see towards the north there being the proposed site of construction. This dotted line you see as it moves north to south that bisects the property. The smaller triangle on the west side being the Scott County portion, east side being Bourbon. However, being that this property is addressed in Scott County, this application becomes our jurisdiction. So that's why we're here this evening. KRS 100-243 is the state statute that we have to base variance requests off of. Essentially, before any variance is granted, the board must find that the granting of the variance will not adversely affect the public health, safety, or welfare, will not alter the essential character of the general vicinity, will not cause a hazard or nuisance to the public, and will not allow an unreasonable circumvention of the requirements of the zoning regulations. In making these findings, the board shall consider whether A, the requested variance arises from special circumstances which do not generally apply to land in the vicinity or in the same zone. The strict application of the provisions of the regulation would deprive the applicant of the reasonable use of the land or would create an unnecessary hardship on the applicant, and whether the circumstances are a result of actions of the applicant taken subsequent to the adoption of the zoning regulations from which relief is sought. And lastly, the board shall deny any request for variance arising from circumstances that are the willful violation on behalf of the applicant. This is a drawing as submitted by the applicant. It's a little bit different orientation than you see as far as north-south. Again, the red area being proposed area of construction. The property does slope from north to south and towards the west, towards the lagoon area. There are also pre-existing structures. I believe there's a pool and some other outbuildings. There's a stand of established trees and an electrical overhead line easement, which would kind of prevent the applicant from shifting this building around to a different location. If you look at topographical data, these contour lines do show that the proposed area is essentially the flattest part of the parcel. Again, this dotted line here being the Bourbon and Scott County border, and I'll get to that in just a moment. The applicant again proposes constructing the building on the north side of the property beyond an existing outbuilding, again on the most relatively flat portion. We've already discussed the lagoon, et cetera, et cetera. The rate of slope would make it difficult to construct the proposed building in an area that would meet setback standards, and there are other existing structures that preclude building elsewhere. And I was sitting there watching the Little League World Series the other night, and I got to thinking, I was like, we're encroaching on Bourbon County. I think it's important we look up their standards. So if you see this data here, this actually comes from Bourbon County Planning and Zoning and their regulations as well. As defined by their regulations, part of this parcel does lie within an agriculture zone, similar to ours. And the minimum side yard setback in this zone for this county is 30 feet. Again, we're not operating on Bourbon County regulations. This is our jurisdiction. But if the board were to choose to approve this variance, it actually would comply with Bourbon County standards, thus not causing any disgruntlement, from their side. If it were to be considered an issue on the Bourbon County side, they'd be good there. So allowing the variance on our behalf would not cause any hardship on the county of jurisdiction on the opposite side. All in all, project site's a 5-acre A1 zone parcel. It has significant slope as you move away from property lines, making it difficult to build in the compliant area. Again, other structures on the parcel precluding construction elsewhere. Applicant has supplied drawings supporting these statements. Denying the requested variance will cause hardship to the applicant, as it will limit their ability to fully utilize their property in a manner consistent with those around them. And again, overall staff is recommending approval. These 4 conditions of approval are standard as typically issued for a variance request. There is nothing extraneous other than, applicant shall return to the board if conditions do change, if they choose a different site for construction. Beyond that, it's please follow our rules and those of everybody else and make sure you get a building permit before construction. I'm available for questions. I believe the applicant is as well.
Brett, I am the world's worst, and my husband will tell you on directions. But access directly, is that Ironworks Road?
Did I write something down wrong maybe? Is it in the packet wrong?
At 460 and Ironworks, but I went out there. It's Leesburg for
Yes.
sure.
Yeah.
But it is in here.
Yes.
Got Ironworks.
Does it say that on the packet?
North of US 460.
That's a copy paste error on my fault.
Okay.
Yeah. I somehow got it right in the PowerPoint.
Any
Did
other
you have a nice drive? Okay, that's
I think it fits the area.
Any more questions for staff? All right, is the applicant here? Would you like to add anything? Does anyone have any questions for the applicant?
Any calls or concerns from any surrounding neighbors?
no ma'am.
Everything okay with you, Charlie?
Yes, ma'am.
It looks like everybody has a pole barn out there, by the way, except for you. Yeah.
All right.
I make a motion to accept S 2025-21 based on the conditions of approval from the main body.
We have a
Yeah.
motion to approve, seconded by Janet Holland. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion approved.
Okay. I will get you an approval letter by email as soon as possible. Either be this evening, maybe early in the morning, something like that. You can carry the building inspection with
Like
you.
it is.
Okay? You let us know if you need anything else.
All right.
Reminds me of sheet.
Next application is S 2025-20.
Thank you very much. Sneak behind.
Okay.
Here we go.
Well, good evening, everybody. My name is Mark Carper. Pleased to present this application. Ms. Holland has agreed to be my audibility meter. So if you see her making gestures, they're directed toward me and not toward anyone else in the audience. I tend to be a bit soft-spoken, so I'm making every effort to make myself a bit more well heard. So this application is for a conditional use permit for the operation of a towing service at the address of the applicant, which is 210 East Honaker Road, Stamping Ground. The area is zoned A1. The property is 5 acres, a little bit more. And We are recommending denial of this application. We'll go over the reasons why we're making that recommendation. This is an aerial view of the property. The applicant has proposed the following components for their operation. They are proposing that no more than 20 automobiles would be on site and storage at any time, that each automobile would be on site for no more than 45 consecutive days. Stated that the average length of time an automobile would be on site is from 15 to 30 days. The applicant has stated there'd be no noise, glare, or other effects on adjacent properties. The hours of operations were not stated. Aerial imagery shows that a fence has been installed along the western side, the northern side, the southern side, and partially along the eastern side of the automobile storage area to serve as screening. I'll go back to the aerial image. Fred, I can't really zoom in very well, but we'll have some pictures coming up. You might be able to see some semblance of a fence, primarily where the cars are parked, toward the back of that property. So for conditional use,
Charlie?
state regulations defines conditional uses as those uses which are essential to or would promote the public health, safety, or welfare in one or more zones, but which would impair the integrity and character of the zone in which it is located or in adjoining zones unless restrictions on location, size, extent, and character of the performance are imposed in addition to those imposed in the zoning regulation. This may be authorized, but there are two components which are required, those being a statement of factual determination and a statement of special conditions which would be applied to that permit. Okay. So in reviewing this application.
Mark, can I
yes.
stop you for just one second,
Yes, of
please?
course.
I have a question for Charlie.
Yes.
Charlie, we've read through the packet and seen a lot of references to other zones. I know we're looking at an A1 zone here, and to my knowledge, our ordinances for A1 does not list a conditional use for automobile salvage or storage in an A1 zone. Is that
Yeah, I
correct?
think that's correct, yeah.
So if that's correct, can we hear this as a board?
Oh, we can hear it. I don't think you can approve it. A conditional use permit has to be listed in the ordinance, or else you have to have a use that is comparable to it and perhaps less intense. I don't think there's really one of those in the A1 zone either.
So if we cannot approve it, there really is no reason to hear it.
Well, and that's the way I would look at it, but, you know, somebody complained about my trying to cut something off early just a month or so ago. But there's also the possibility that this might be looked at as a home occupation, and I frankly don't think that applies either, because a home occupation is supposed to be where the home, the residence is the primary use of the property. There's vastly more use on this property than a residence. In fact, the residence could almost disappear, and you have pretty much the same intensity you've got now. So I don't really think home occupation applies, and I don't think there's one for a towing service and temporary storage as a conditional use in an A1 zone. So I think you're right about that.
Can we make a motion, or does staff need to have input?
Well,
or-
let's see what staff has to say
Okay,
about that.
Holden?
So it's staff's preference, having called this meeting and having not yet received testimony either from staff or the applicant, that this time the board would consider this a home occupation until at least the applicant has a chance to state why they believe that it would be considered in compliance with the home occupation. Again, staff has reviewed this. We are recommending denial. But for the purposes of the record and for making sure that, again, the applicant has had an opportunity to refute staff's denial and maybe some considerations of the board, we would like to continue at this time, at least to that point.
Charlie, what do you think?
Well, can I make a suggestion? If we would read into the record the list of conditional uses, because I don't think that one's on there. And secondly, I think we need to read the definition of home occupation, because I really don't think that applies.
I have those in part of my presentation.
Well, maybe if you could get to those two
Yeah, I
things
would skip
first,
the
then, I
bunch,
think that'd be very helpful.
And then let the applicant, if they would like to refute just those two specific things,
And
if they can.
That's probably reasonable.
I
Okay.
don't mind to ask questions.
So
Mark, if you don't mind, I'll get right to it. If that's okay with you.
What are you doing?
let's go to what's
I'm going to
pertinent.
go ahead and just read it into the record.
Okay. Let me sit down.
Okay. Article 4 of the Georgetown-Scott County zoning ordinance, the 4.1 agricultural districts A1 included here, within the conditional use section, allows for home occupations that exceed the limitations in the definition of such. Within the definition section of, again, the zoning ordinance, home occupation is listed as a definition, and that definition reads as such. Love it. Home occupations are defined as professional offices, one professional with no staff, studio, or personal services maintained or conducted within the dwelling or accessory building. Home occupations must meet then the following conditions that then limits its scope and intensity. With the specific use within the A1 zone being home occupations that exceed the definition of such, staff admits that as proposed, this would well be in excess of the definition. It then comes down to whether or not you can be in so much excess as to no longer be a home occupation. Again, having now read that in and having the packet already been submitted on public record, but not having had the applicant had a chance to talk about what they're proposing, we'd at least like to go that far.
To the applicant.
Well, I think that's perfectly legitimate to have everybody give their say on that. I think that definition, though, makes it pretty clear.
Within the dwelling.
In the residence
Yeah.
or in an accessory building, this takes up, a large part of the entire lot. And it's 5 acres, it's not 300 square feet like it is in town. So it is just vastly in
Right.
excess of that. But I think it's reasonable to say everyone needs to comment on that before there might be any motion or any kind of action.
Okay.
Thank you.
So are you making space for the applicant to come and speak? Okay, excellent.
Is the applicant here? Would you mind stepping up? And we'd just like you to address that. As far as us looking at this, we don't see how to fit this within our framework. Can you tell us how this is a home occupation?
Well, I mean, it's our livelihood, and it ain't no junkyard, it ain't no salvage yard, it's an impound lot for the police. And they, like you said, when it first come up, some of them's there, by law, we got to hold the vehicle 45 days and send 2 registered letters. But most of them comes in's got wrecked insurance, and they usually come and get them within first 5 to 10 days. But, they're in and out. They ain't just sitting there. Like, we don't tear them apart. We don't sell parts. We don't dump oil. We don't dump antifreeze. They just go back there and sit. Then after 45 days, I call Freddie Lewis, and he comes and gets them and buys them from me.
Okay.
But like I say, we don't tear them apart. We don't salvage. We don't sell used parts off from them or nothing else.
It's my understanding that you received what would be considered a cease and desist.
Hi.
Did you receive a letter asking you to cease and desist until
Well, we
we
just
address
got
this?
a letter saying that they was going to review it. They
So
didn't
you
say
have not
exactly
stopped
stop.
operation? You have not stopped operating?
No.
Does anyone have any questions for the applicant?
Well, since part of this was to be about how is this a home occupation?
Yeah, that doesn't
then-
satisfy.
Well, then if you're not, it sounds like he really touched on that one.
Okay, well, I'd
So if you
ask.
would specifically just ask him if he could talk about why is this a home occupation?
I couldn't find him registered with the Secretary of State or with a assumed name certificate doing business as at the clerk's office. And I did that again today. And so we have a duty to ensure that he's compliant with state and local regulations, and we have to be accountable for making that decision. So it's not intent to do business. You've done business my whole life in other locations as well.
But,
Am I safe to say that? 1988.
1999 is when we started.
Well, then when my memory started, there we go. Okay, so
well,
I
I
don't think
wanted-
it's intent to do a business. I think you've been operating a business.
I
Well-
needed to answer the one question about why are we still operating this, because we were told if we didn't.
Can you speak
from the microphone? If we didn't tow in
more than 15 to 20 cars we could,
Okay.
until this was cleared up. Also, we brought this before in 2018 when we moved there.
In
And we
front of the
were,
planning commission? Did you
Yeah.
go to the planning office and do that?
we had code enforcement, everything came down there, and then they told
That's
us
the
what
code
to
board.
do, and we did what they said.
But
and
you
they-
didn't come in front of,
No, we didn't.
Right.
They didn't bring it before you all. We can't help that it didn't get this far. But we talked to the people that we thought we was supposed to talk to, and we've been in business down there since 2018.
okay, so let's just focus on today for the moment. Today, we're here to talk about whether we can give you a conditional use permit for a home occupation. Holden read the guidelines, the outline for what a home occupation was. The intent of that is really so a person can have a business inside their dwelling, in their house, or like in a shop or a garage, an accessory building. You're talking about using your land to park cars in your 5 acres. So we're just asking you, can you tell us why we should consider that not excessive for a home occupation? Is that fair, Charlie? Is that what?
Yes.
I
Okay.
can't
I
see
mean,
it.
we've done, we fenced it off, we put tin around it, blocked it off where you can't see it,
I don't know those people.
and, everything's good and clean. We even had the water management people come down there and look. And they said, look, and said, that's the cleanest whole lot he's ever been in, and he gave us 100%
Okay.
on the cleanness, and no oil, no antifreeze, no nothing leaking.
Okay.
I mean, you say that you can only operate out of your house or your garage or whatever. So are you saying that if we build a garage and put cars in the garage, we could operate out of that?
Well, it's just supposed to be like accessory. The main thing is supposed to be a residence. It's a business, like just on the side of a residence. You're wanting to have a business that far outshadows the scope of your residence on that property. It's no longer so much about your house, you're wanting a business on all of it. Is that correct, Charlie? Please help me out
No.
Well,
here.
I think so, because the primary use in an A1 zone has to be the place
the
for
house.
agriculture.
Yeah,
It can't be an industrial, that kind of, or vehicle-related thing. And for a conditional use permit for a home occupation, and it says these are limited uses because they're secondary to the residence. They can't overwhelm the residence, they can't take over the property. And even though they can exceed the 300 square feet in the city, well, they can't extend then, basically to 5 acres. I mean, that's way in excess. And that's why it probably should not be. But that's what we need to talk about. Because if it doesn't comply with that, then it can't be approved as that. Or else we set ourselves up then to be appealed, and then we got to do a bunch of work and lose, and I don't like to do that.
right. So should the
What are you
board
talking about
discuss
taking over
this?
the whole 5 acres? It
Well,
ain't
just from
but,
the photograph that was used,
Yeah.
your operation covers a great deal of the 5 acres. Your house, in fact,
It
when I first
doesn't
looked, I
even
wasn't sure
cover an
exactly
acre.
we
what
cover,
it
I
was.
mean, it's about
It doesn't even cover an acre.
60 foot long, 40 foot wide.
Well, that's maybe just where the cars are parked.
Yeah, but
you
the rest
also
of that
have-
stuff-
You also have a record there, you've got other things going on.
Most all that other stuff's my vehicles.
The only thing we have there is our record. The rest of it is our personal vehicles and
Vehicles.
things. It's not got anything to do, there's nothing else there.
Only thing we're using
I've
is
put a
back
lot
there
of thought
behind that
into
fence.
this. I really have. And I've went
You all
devil's
been out there
advocate
together.
and thought about what if those are all your vehicles?
Yeah,
It's
them
a
are
very
all-
real possibility, right?
Yeah,
And so I look at that, but like I also ask, had you listened to the letter that was mailed to you to see if moving forward, if you would be compliant with the restrictions that would be around the conditional use? And so when you told me that you had still been operating, then I considered that, would you listen in the future if somebody asked you to stop for a minute? And like, that's why I asked that, but I can't find it other than the DOT, which is federal. But like, you're right. Unless we trespass or we're a code enforcement officer, we can't go out there and run every VIN number. That would be trespassing. But like from Google Earth, I also saw that, and I went for just like public view. It does look better on the front half than what it had. I live in Stamping Ground. I understand what it normally looks like. But like from Google Earth, I also see it on a water line. There's a branch of water there. You've got soil conservation, you've got EPA, and I heard what you said, runoff and stuff. But I also know nobody wants their car to leak oil, and it happens. Whether it's yours, whether it's brought in, or whatever, it happens. So I asked Holden if building a pole barn would help this situation, didn't I? I did. But like, they would have to have a permit for that, and that would be that would be not us immediately. Like, but I did. I've tried devil's advocate both sides. I see you as a human, I see this as your livelihood, but I also see the problem. And I looked at Secretary of State, you're not there. I can't legally say you're gonna be in occupation and with just intent when you've been operating since 99, okay? Because you've not just started. And so like that's a problem. And so I was like, well, maybe he's sole proprietor, and I looked at the courthouse, there's no name there. Oh, I'm perfectly fine saying how I feel. At least you know I looked into it.
No, you did.
I really
You
did.
did your homework.
So-
But like, I couldn't find a way for this to win other than a pole barn, and that's what I went to Holden with. I'm just letting you
Thank
know.
you.
I really did
Yeah.
try.
She has been. So, anyone else on the board, how are y'all feeling about this being a home occupation? Do you see this being able to fit in there? No, Rachel, Tommy,
No.
Janet?
I just want us to be legal.
Okay, and your concerns are
And
just
I
meeting
don't
it,
feel
yes.
like we will be.
Yeah, okay. So
think
Charlie,
it's-
where do we go from there?
And Charlie's heard me.
Well, one of the point that she's just brought up about being legal, if the property is owned by an individual, but the application is filed as Sharp's Towing and there is no entity as Sharp's Towing, that is a problem. Not one that we couldn't be corrected, but that is a problem.
But that's winning the battle and not the war.
Yeah,
Like it's,
yeah, there should be
That's good.
a doing business as in the clerk's office if it's an individual doing business. Or if they plan on incorporating it, then that needs to be done. It needs to be in the Secretary of State's
DBA,
office. So in effect, we do have an application that's perhaps not signed by the right or not indicated right. I don't know. I still think the bigger problem is this merely a home occupation? Because if it is one, then there's really no limitation on it pretty much, unless the board says it is. And if there isn't going to be a limitation, then there's no point in the definition. So we need to figure out, is this something that actually can be permitted as a conditional use permit?
See, I just don't see it in agricultural. I mean, where it's setting, that's industrial. So, can we make a motion based on that? Do we need to have further input? Holden?
Well, I think what
Well, I think we need to let them.
I think what we need to do, if we're going to finish talking about this,
Okay.
I think staff is really, I don't know, maybe staff has finished talking about the home occupation part too. But we talked about having staff talk about it as well as applicants, so let's get both of those views out.
Okay.
Be very brief. Just to clarify a point, the applicant on this was Rudy Sharp, and the application was signed by Rudy Sharp. So it wasn't applied for as Sharp's Towing, it was applied for
Okay,
by
thank you.
Rudy Sharp. To skip forward through all of this, staff reviewed it as a home occupation and tried to find the closest uses that would or would not be allowed.
Understand.
At the end of the day, staff recommends denial. We do not believe that this meets the definition or would not be able to be carried forward with enough conditions that can mitigate against offsite impacts. Understanding that this may be in excess of even a definition that says a home occupation that's in excess of, so we're in excess of the excessive home occupation. At this point, we would just request that the board make a motion to deny the conditional use application based, number one, on the inability to mitigate against offsite impacts, as well as the inability to specify this use
Yeah.
as a conditional use that's listed. But we do ask that the application be denied. Past that, I would like the consideration of the board for their support of continued enforcement action on the property.
Okay.
Having, if it is the motion to deny the conditional use application.
Okay, I understand. So basically, you're saying even if it is a conditional use, it's too big of one, we cannot mitigate enough problems to make it
Absolutely.
Okay, too many conditions would be required.
And that would be the list of 14 items, would that be among the list of 14 items of findings that they are
Okay.
recommending that the board make? And I would suggest any motion you do to include those.
Okay, so, staff is requesting the denial motion, so we can go ahead and proceed at this point. Do we need to reword what he said, or just say,
No, I think I think it says it quite clearly in
Okay.
14 findings.
okay. Mark, did you have something else?
Well, Rose asking whether or not the findings need to be read into the record.
Oh, no, just the motion simply say that it incorporates the staff report. So no, they're in there.
Okay, so I'll make the motion as stated by Holden.
Then Holden had better write all that down so
Holden.
I can get that in the minutes.
Not enough conditions can be made, we're recommending denial, and what was that first part he said? Oh my gosh, I've already blanked out.
And you are incorporating the staff report as part of that motion.
Yes. Can I have a second on that, please? Second.
I'm sorry, who?
Rachel.
Rachel.
Motion's been made and seconded, all in favor? Aye.
I think I heard everybody. Did I hear everybody?
Yep.
Thank you.
Again, that last kind of topic for discussion.
Enforcement. That's what I
Yes.
said.
So prior to this application, staff had reached out to the Sharps indicating that they may be in violation of our zoning ordinance and requested them to supply that application for conditional use. Throughout the process, the Sharps have communicated with me, and again, that is why they were allowed to continue that use while we sorted this issue out. Having now had that denied, staff does intend to enforce our zoning ordinance as written. I just want to make sure it is the will of this body to continue with those enforcement actions.
Yes. And you, and staff will take care of all, okay, moving forward.
Now,
He
Charlie, did I
will
miss
be
anything on
allowed to
that?
park his work truck at his home where he drives it home, though.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
And I don't know that it's really legally necessary, but I think it'd probably be appreciated with staff. Just a motion and second authorizing staff to proceed with enforcement.
I'll make a motion that staff proceeds with enforcement.
And one further point, this is obviously not something that can just simply be shut down and moved, quickly. So staff is going to be given discretion, to be reasonable about whatever terms and whatever compliance.
Yeah, I guess that's what I meant when I said you'll oversee and move through
Yep.
that process. A motion's been made to let staff, to their discretion, go ahead and proceed with enforcement.
I'll second.
Seconded by Janet Hall, and all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Thank you, Holden.
Thank you.
Okay. Is there anything else?
Nothing else on the agenda.
All right.
No?
Board adjustments adjourned for the meeting.
But you have a hammer down there? Bring that hammer down.